This video did not actually exist in your timeline until you directed your specific attention toward it. Think about that for a second. You pulled this transmission out of the infinite quantum field simply by seeking an answer. Today, we are going to talk about a phenomenon that almost everyone experiences, but very few truly understand. I am talking about those moments when you lose an everyday object, search everywhere for it, and then suddenly find it sitting exactly where you first looked. This is not a trick of the mind. We are diving deep into the observer effect, the quantum field, and the fluid nature of reality itself. By the end of this video, you will finally understand your true, terrifyingly beautiful power as the ultimate creator of your physical experience. Tell me, have you ever felt like the universe was playing tricks on you, hiding things and returning them just to get your attention? To grasp what is truly happening when objects vanish and return, we must first establish the ground rules of the dimension you are currently inhabiting. You have been taught that the world outside of you is solid, fixed, and entirely independent of your existence. This is the grand illusion. In the esoteric understanding of the quantum field, nothing is solid. Everything around you exists merely as a wave of shimmering probability. It is a dense sea of potential that only takes on a physical, undeniable form when a localized consciousness decides to interact with it. Observation is not a passive act of just witnessing things happen. Observation is an intensely active, deeply creative process. Your gaze, your focus, and your energetic expectation act as a cosmic glue that binds the wave of probability into the illusion of hard matter. You are not walking through a pre-built world. You are rendering the world step by step, frame by frame, exactly like a complex simulation. Think about a very specific moment in your life. You place an object on a table. Maybe it is your car keys, your phone, or a favorite pen. You turn around for a fraction of a second. When you look back, the object is completely gone. You search the table. You check your pockets. You look under the furniture. You are absolutely certain of where you left it, yet it has vanished into thin air. Most people will blame their own memory. They will convince themselves that they were simply distracted. But what if I told you that your memory is working perfectly fine? The truth is far more mysterious and powerful. When you look back at that exact same spot a few minutes later, after giving up the search, and the object is sitting right there in plain sight, you have just experienced something profound. You did not just find a lost item. Your consciousness literally slipped between two parallel realities. You experienced a temporary glitch in the fabric of space and time orchestrated by your own quantum field. This is not science fiction. This is the raw mechanics of how your awareness interacts with the physical world. To understand how an object can simply vanish and reappear, we first have to completely dismantle the lie you have been told about physical matter. You were taught in school that the world around you is made of solid, unchangeable building blocks. But quantum physics has proven that this is an illusion. At the subatomic level, there is no solid matter at all. Everything you see, touch, and hold is actually made up of 99.9% empty space, filled with vibrating energy. Before you look at an object, it does not exist as a solid thing. It exists only as a wave of infinite probabilities. It is everywhere and nowhere at the exact same time. This wave of potential only collapses into a physical, tangible object the very second that a conscious observer looks at it. This means your eyes are not just passive lenses recording a world that is already there. Your eyes are active projectors. Your conscious awareness is the exact mechanism that forces the chaotic quantum soup to freeze into a specific shape, size, and location. Without your direct observation, the universe is just a blur of endless possibilities waiting for a commander. But what happens when your attention slips? This is where the magic of parallel realities comes into play. Your focused observation is what keeps the objects in your reality locked into their specific coordinates. When you are highly present and grounded, your environment remains stable. However, humans are rarely fully present. Your mind is constantly wandering to the past, worrying about the future, or drifting into daydreams. In the exact moment that your focus wavers, your grip on the physical reality around you loosens. The energy that makes up your car keys or your wallet briefly unbinds itself from the physical matrix. Because you stopped observing it with absolute certainty, the object momentarily reverts back into a wave of pure probability. It literally ceases to be a solid object in that specific fraction of a second. The reality wave becomes fluid again, waiting for a new set of instructions from your consciousness. This microscopic lapse in your attention is the open door through which a quantum shift can occur. Now, let us introduce the concept of infinite parallel timelines. Right now, there is not just one version of you living out one specific destiny. There are millions of parallel versions of you existing simultaneously across infinite dimensions. In one reality, you placed your keys on the table. In another reality, which is just slightly out of phase with this one, you placed them in your pocket. In yet another reality, they fell completely onto the floor. Because your attention slipped, your consciousness briefly untethered itself from the specific timeline where the keys were on the table. You accidentally drifted. You vibrated into a parallel timeline where the keys were never on the table to begin with. This happens to everyone, but most people are too deeply asleep to notice. You are actively shifting through millions of parallel frames every single second to create the illusion of a continuous moving picture. The disappearing object is simply a rendering error. It is a moment where you shifted into a timeline that did not match your immediate memory. When you realize the object is gone, what is your immediate reaction? It is almost always a spike of negative emotion. You feel panic, frustration, or confusion. You start frantically tearing the room apart. This emotional reaction is incredibly significant in the quantum field. Emotion is energy in motion. It is the magnetic force that draws reality toward you. By feeling the intense frustration of the loss, you are actively observing the absence of the object. You are pouring massive amounts of emotional energy into the specific reality where the object is missing. Because you are the ultimate creator, the quantum field obeys your emotional command immediately. It locks you firmly into the timeline where the object does not exist. The harder you look from a state of panic, the more impossible it becomes to find the item. You are literally blinding yourself to the object by collapsing the wave of probability into a reality of pure absence. Your fear has manifested a localized void in your space. This brings us to the ultimate turning point of this phenomenon, the moment of surrender. After 5 or 10 minutes of frantic searching, you finally give up. You let out a heavy sigh, you drop your shoulders, and you accept that the object is simply gone. You decide to stop looking and move on to something else. This exact moment of surrender is a massive esoteric trigger. By letting go of the desperate need to find the object, you instantly release the negative emotional charge that was anchoring you to the timeline of loss. You stop observing the absence. Your vibrational frequency suddenly neutralizes and resets. Because you are no longer forcing the quantum field to maintain the reality of the missing object, the field becomes fluid once again. The wave of probability opens up, allowing your consciousness to effortlessly drift back toward your original baseline frequency. The letting go is not just an emotional release. It is a profound metaphysical mechanism that allows you to quantum leap back to your preferred timeline. And then, the miracle happens. A few moments after you surrender, you casually glance back at the exact same table you searched 10 times before. And there it is. The object is sitting in plain sight, looking as if it had never moved. It was not hidden under a paper. It was not knocked off the edge. It is resting exactly in the center of the space you scrutinized just minutes ago. When this happens, your logical brain tries to desperately protect its illusion of a solid world. Your ego will whisper excuses to you. It will say, "I must have just overlooked it," or "My eyes were playing tricks on me." Do not listen to the logical brain. The logical brain is designed to keep you trapped in the physical matrix. The truth is much more liberating. The object was literally not there in the previous timeline. When you surrendered your resistance, your consciousness snapped back into the parallel reality, where the object had remained on the table the entire time. You shifted dimensions without ever taking a physical step. These moments are not random accidents. They are deliberate glitches in the matrix designed to wake you up. The universe, which is fundamentally an extension of your higher self, creates these small anomalies to shake you out of your spiritual slumber. When an object vanishes and reappears, it is a direct message from the quantum field. The field is whispering to you, reminding you that the physical world is an illusion. It is begging you to realize that you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the architect of your circumstances. If you can unintentionally shift realities to make a set of car keys disappear and reappear, just imagine what you could do if you applied this exact same principle with conscious, deliberate intent. These glitches are the training wheels for mastering the law of attraction and conscious manifestation. They prove to you, in real time, that your emotional state and your focus dictate the physical matter around you. This exact same quantum mechanism explains another deeply mysterious phenomenon you have surely experienced: the feeling of déjà vu. Déjà vu is not a misfire in your brain chemistry. It is a moment where your current consciousness temporarily overlaps with a parallel version of yourself. Just like the disappearing object, déjà vu is a sign that the boundaries between timelines are extremely thin. When you get that sudden, overwhelming feeling that you have lived a precise moment before, you are actually feeling the resonance of a parallel reality bleeding into your current awareness. You are standing at a quantum crossroads. Your higher self is sending you a heavy download of synchronistic energy to confirm that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. Both the reappearing object and the feeling of déjà vu are massive signposts on your spiritual journey. They are undeniable proof that time is not a straight line, and reality is not a single, solid track. Let us take a deeper look at your role as the observer. In quantum mechanics, the famous double-slit experiment proved that particles act differently when they are being watched. When unobserved, they act as a wave of endless possibilities. When observed, they are forced to choose one specific physical location. You are performing this experiment every single second of your waking life. Your conscious awareness is the ultimate collapsing mechanism. The room you are sitting in right now is only solid because you expect it to be solid. The walls, the floor, the screen you are watching this video on, they are all sustained by your ongoing observation. When you begin to truly internalize this, your entire perspective shifts. You stop reacting to the world as if it is happening to you. You begin to realize that the world is happening from you. You are the projector, and the physical reality is simply the movie playing out on the screen of space and time. You hold the ultimate creative authority. The secret ingredient to collapsing the reality you actually want is managing your emotional charge. We discussed how the panic of losing an object locks you into a timeline of loss. This principle applies to everything in your life. If you are constantly stressing over a lack of money, a lack of health, or a lack of love, you are using the observer effect against yourself. You are actively staring at the absence of what you want. You are pumping high-voltage emotional energy into the reality where you are impoverished, sick, or lonely. The quantum field has no judgment. It simply delivers the timeline that matches your strongest vibrational output. To shift realities, you must master the art of emotional neutrality. You must learn to look at your current physical circumstances without triggering a massive emotional reaction. When you remain neutral, the reality around you becomes soft, pliable, and ready to be reshaped by your new intentions. Consider the phenomenon known as the Mandela effect. This is when large groups of people remember a historical event, a logo, or a movie line completely differently than how it is documented in current history. People try to explain this away as mass false memory. But through the lens of quantum consciousness, the Mandela effect is simply the reappearing object phenomenon on a macrocosmic scale. It is collective consciousness shifting timelines. You have your own personal Mandela effects occurring all the time. Have you ever remembered a conversation perfectly, but the other person swears it never happened? Have you ever noticed a building on your street that seems to have appeared overnight, even though neighbors tell you it has been there for years? These are not memory flaws. These are localized timeline shifts. You are constantly jumping into slightly different versions of Earth based on the evolution of your internal frequency. So how do we use this knowledge for profound manifestation? If you can shift into a reality where a lost key reappears, you can certainly shift into a reality where your bank account is overflowing or your body is perfectly healed. The mechanics are identical. The only difference is the amount of resistance your logical mind puts up. Your mind easily accepts that a lost key can be found. It is a small, insignificant leap. But your mind deeply resists the idea that you can suddenly become wealthy or entirely healed, because society has programmed you to believe those things are incredibly difficult. To manifest grand miracles, you must treat your biggest desires exactly like you treat the lost object after you surrender. You must declare what you want to the quantum field and then completely drop the desperate need to find it. You must release the frantic searching. You must trust that the parallel reality where you already have it exists right now. Detachment is the ultimate secret code to hacking the universe. Detachment does not mean you do not care about your desires. Detachment means you are so absolutely certain that your desire is already yours in a parallel timeline that you do not need to stress about how it will reach you. When you let go of the how and the when, you stop observing the lack. You stop collapsing the wave of probability into failure. Think back to the lost object. It only returned when you stopped forcing it. The same goes for your dream job, your soulmate, or your financial freedom. The moment you truly surrender the anxiety of the search, your frequency snaps into perfect alignment with the timeline of fulfillment. You walk into the next room, or turn the metaphorical corner of your life, and the exact thing you were manifesting is sitting right there, waiting for you, as if it had been there the entire time. When you begin to consciously shift timelines, the universe will provide you with a breadcrumb trail of feedback. We call these synchronicities. Immediately after a timeline shift, like finding the lost object, you will often notice a spike in meaningful coincidences. You might look at the clock and see repeating numbers like 11:11 or 3:33. You might hear a stranger say the exact word you were just thinking about. You might receive a text message from someone you were just picturing in your mind. These events are not random accidents. They are the energetic ripples caused by your consciousness splashing into a new parallel reality. Synchronicities are the quantum field's way of winking at you. They are a confirmation that the matrix is responding to your new vibrational signature. When you see these signs, do not brush them off. Acknowledge them. Feel the gratitude for them. This positive reinforcement locks you even deeper into your new, elevated timeline. The time has come for you to take conscious control of this incredible power. You have spent your entire life accidentally shifting realities based on chaotic, uncontrolled emotions. It is time to step into the driver's seat. To do this, you must train your attention. You must become fiercely protective of where you place your focus. Stop observing the things you hate about your life. Stop obsessively talking about your problems, your debts, and your illnesses. Every time you complain, You are commanding the quantum field to keep you trapped in that specific reality. Instead, start actively observing the reality you prefer, even if it only exists in your imagination at first. Your imagination is not a playground of fake things. Your imagination is a periscope looking directly into parallel realities. When you clearly visualize your desired outcome and feel the emotion of it being real, you are literally downloading the coordinates of that timeline into your current physical vessel. The biggest obstacle you will face in this process is your own logical brain. As you start manifesting miracles, your brain will scramble to rationalize them. When the money suddenly arrives, your brain will say it was just a lucky coincidence. When the perfect opportunity drops into your lap, your brain will attribute it to blind chance. You must violently reject these rationalizations. The logical mind is the guardian of the old matrix. Its entire job is to keep you vibrating at a low, predictable frequency so that the system remains stable. Every time you allow your brain to write off a miracle as a coincidence, you give away your power as a creator. You must fiercely claim your manifestations. When the lost object reappears, look at it and say out loud, "I shifted my reality to bring you back." Claiming the quantum shift is what builds your spiritual muscle and prepares you for much larger manifestations. Think of your consciousness as a radio dial. The frequencies for rock music, classical music, and talk radio all exist in the air around you right now, simultaneously. You do not have to create the music. You just have to tune the dial to match the frequency of the station you want to hear. Parallel realities work in the exact same way. The reality where you are completely abundant, deeply loved, and entirely fulfilled is broadcasting right now. It is happening in this precise moment, just outside of your current perceptive range. You do not need to struggle, fight, or exhaust yourself trying to build that reality from scratch. You only need to tune your internal frequency to match it. You change your frequency by changing your dominant thoughts, your core beliefs, and your daily emotional baseline. When your internal vibration matches the reality you desire, the physical shift happens automatically. You simply collapse the new wave of probability into your physical experience. Every time you misplace something and it miraculously returns, let it serve as a profound reminder of who you truly are. You are not a tiny, insignificant human trying to survive in a massive, hostile universe. That is the greatest lie ever sold to humanity. You are an infinite, multidimensional being currently operating a biological avatar. You are the entire universe experiencing itself from a specific, localized point of view. The power that collapses galaxies into existence is the exact same power that animates your physical body. The quantum field is not something outside of you. It is you. It responds to you because it is an extension of your own mind. The vanishing object is just a playful nudge from your higher self, reminding you to wake up and remember your God-given abilities. It is time to stop playing small. It is time to stop being a victim of the physical world and start acting like the sovereign creator you were born to be. As you move forward from this moment, I want you to carry this realization into your everyday life. Pay close attention to the small glitches. Notice the synchronicities. When things disappear, do not panic. Smile, breathe deeply, and recognize that you are simply experiencing the fluidity of the quantum field. Practice the art of total surrender. Let go of the desperate grip you have on your current problems. Allow the wave of probability to open up and deliver a better timeline. You have the absolute power to choose which version of reality you wish to collapse into physical form. The matrix is waiting for your command. Your consciousness is the key, the door, and the room itself. You are standing at the edge of a massive awakening. The old rules of solid matter and linear time no longer apply to you. You have leveled up. You have remembered the truth. Now, it is time to go out there and consciously design the life you are destined to live. The ultimate truth is simply this: you are not existing inside of a rigid reality. You are the reality, observing and rendering itself into existence every single second. Every lost object that returns, every glitch you notice, is absolute proof that your consciousness dictates the physical world. You are the architect, the projector, and the observer. Thank you for tuning your frequency to this transmission today. If this message resonated with your soul, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button to anchor this energy into your personal field. I want you to actively declare your new state of awareness. Write this exact phrase in the comments below to lock in your timeline. I am the observer, creating my own reality. Now, I want to hear from you. What strange glitches, disappearing objects, or deep synchronicities have you noticed in your life recently?